How to create a pivot table using Microsoft Excel on your Mac. Let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is start off with data. If you don't have data, what you can do is go and generate data using ChatGPT. This is an example of what I did. It took a few iterations to get here, but basically I told it, first of all, what are the columns you would expect in a sales table? And then I told it to then create that table. And to generate that table, and then I told it to, when it gave it to me truncated. I then told it, please give me the full data, not a truncated one. And then once it got that right, I then told it to give it to me in CSV format. This is the format we need to work in Excel. Okay, then you can just copy code and then go into Excel and paste, like so. Okay, so assuming you already have some data, right? Let's try and work on a pivot table. Okay, so first of all, what is a pivot table? A pivot table is a way of summarizing data. So right now we have about 50 rows of data. We can then summarize this and see the data in different ways. What I'm going to do though is there are a few things here that I need to edit to make sure that we get things in the right order. So for example, you'll see that something seems a bit off about this point here. We don't know what these relate to. So let's have a look. We've got shipping date and delivery date, which makes sense for this. Let's tidy that up. And then we have order status. Yes, that makes sense to go here. Shipping address. It keeps saying city and state, which doesn't really make any sense to us. So what we're going to do is just delete that. We don't particularly need that for the purpose of this tutorial. Okay, we'll delete that. The shortcut for deleting is Command and minus, or you can just right click. So select the two columns you want from the top there, right click, and then click on delete. Okay, now we have our data prepped, which is good. For a pivot table, you do need to make sure that you have headings on all your columns. That's very important. Okay, so now that we have this, let's create a pivot table. What I generally do is select all the data and then go to insert. But before I do that, what I would like you to do is press Control or Command A. So if you're on a computer, if you're on a Mac, press Command A. If you're on a Windows, press Control A. So what that does is that it selects all the data within here. And this works pretty well for when you have data next to each other. If you had a space between column M, for example, and some data in column O, it would only take the data up to column M. So just bear that in mind. But anyway, let's do it again. So Command A. Okay, so we have that. You then go to Insert, then click on Pivot Table. Okay, and it's going to put it on a new sheet. You've already selected the range, so that's fine. So just click on OK. So we're going to summarize some things. So let's say, for example, we want to know how many. We want to know the orders by date. So maybe the sales we've done by date or for a month or something. Let's do that. So I'm going to take this order date and drag it into rows. It tells us, okay, we have data for September and October. That's cool. And then what I'm going to do is take the total price, which is, if we go back to our data, you'll see that's the total amount everything costs. So with the quantity and the unit price. So if we go back, I'm going to then drag the total price there into values. Anything we're going to calculate, any numbers we calculate with, we put in the values. Anything we want to describe or that describes the data goes in either rows or columns. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, this is looking good, except for the fact that this isn't formatted very well. So we don't know what currency this is. And I think this is worth paying attention to. So what I would do is come over here to the bottom right and click on the I for total price. And then in there, go into number and then choose what we want it to be. So I'm going to go for dollars. Okay, so I'm based in the UK, but that's why it's showing pounds. Let's go for dollars, US dollars. There we go, United States dollars. And you can show how you want negative numbers to appear as well. I'm happy for them to appear as negative numbers, just minus the number, and that's fine. So that's okay. So we're going to click on OK and then click on OK again. And there we go. So overall, we've had $20,460 in sales across the months of September and October. If I wanted to drill down even further to say, okay, what happened in October? I can just click on that and it puts the drop down and I can see what happened day by day in October. Now, there are many uses for pivot tables. You can use them to also create charts. You can use them to summarize other data. You can even create calculated fields within pivot tables. But for now, I just wanted to show you how you go around doing this. Let's answer another question to do with pivot tables. So let's see if we have different products. Let's have a look. So I'm going to leave that pivot table there. But let's say I want to use the same data and create another pivot table, and I want to keep that there. I'm just going to copy this. So select the pivot table, right click, copy, and then I would paste somewhere to the right of it. And let's paste. Okay, so we have the same pivot table, but we're going to change the data in here. We're going to remove all of this that we have there so far. And let's start again. So let's take a product name. Let's see. Okay, so we have all of these. We can check the quantity we've sold of the product as well. So I'm going to drag quantity into values. Okay, so we can see the different products that we're selling and how much they bring in terms of revenue, and then how many we sold. But let's say I wanted to arrange this in order of the amount of money coming in over the time period. What I can then do is come in here, click on the row labels, and then click on sort by, and then click on sum of total price. And I want it descending, so I need to make sure I click on that. Fantastic. And if you have a look, you can now see it's arranged in order of total price. But now let's say this is great, but we only wanted to see data for, let's say we wanted to break the data by the different months, right? So we have September and October here, but we want to have maybe a column for September and a column for October over here. What we can then do is we can take the date, the order date, we can put it in the columns, and then you can see it's broken down. So what it's done is it's taken the total price first. So because we've put values up here first, it's put that there. And then under that, it then gives you the comparison between different months. So we can see that for laptops, we made more money in September than we did in October. And in general, it appears to be the same. Well, actually, no, there are different situations where we actually make the same or usually less in October. So for example, this is the same. This is the same, that sort of thing. So we can see, okay, the breakdown, which is cool. And what it does is that it's given us the total price, and the breakdown by month, the quantity and the breakdown by month, and then the sum, so looking at both months together, and for total price and quantity. Now, let's say we didn't necessarily want to show the breakdown here, but we did want to just have figures for September. What we could then do is remove the order date, because we don't need that right now, and we can drag the months to filters. What that does is that it puts a filter right at the top over here. And then what you can do is you can then choose what months you want to select. Okay, so I'm going to unselect this and say, I just want things for September. Look at that right there. Now, I don't think we actually have data for other months. I'm not quite sure why the other months appear, but let's have a look and see. Yeah, other months don't have any data, but that just appears there. So let's put September back on. Okay, this is great. Great. If you're liking this so far, go ahead and hit the like button, and then we'll carry on. So let's say I wanted to turn this now, and let's see if we can find out some more interesting information actually. So let's say the question we now need to answer is, do most of our customers pay by card? Or what payment method do most of our customers make? Well, let's find out. So I'm going to select this again, copy the original pivot table. I'm going to put it somewhere to the right of it. I'm going to paste it there. And let's answer that question. So the question, again, was, what payment methods do people mostly use? So I'm going to, now to answer that, how would you answer that? First of all, you want to know the breakdown by payment method. You want to know possibly how much each payment method brings, but you probably also want to know the number of orders that are in that payment, that use that payment method. So let's do that. So I'm not too fussed about the months right now or the dates, so I'm going to get rid of that for now. So just drag it out of the rows to get rid of it. And instead, let's look for, if you can't find the field that you're looking for, you can just come in here in the search field and type it in. So in there, we're going to type payment. There we go, payment method. I'm going to drag that in there. Okay, so already we can see that credit card is responsible for more payments than PayPal. Okay, that's very useful. But then let's see the number of orders. Now, the way to calculate the number of orders would be to count the number of order IDs. So let's drag the order IDs into values. At the moment, it's summing the order IDs, which is not quite what we want. What we actually want is a count. The reason it's summing it is because if you look in the original data, this is just numbers. So it just assumes it just has to add it, but that would be incorrect. What we need to make sure it does is that it counts it, not adds it. So let's go back in here, then click on order ID, the same way we did before with the other one, but instead click on the I, and then over here, change this from sum to count. Okay. Aha, you can see we have radically different numbers now. And we can see that credit cards generally have more orders than PayPal. So, we want to encourage maybe more credit card users. Okay, then what other question could we possibly ask in this? Let's go back to the original data. Okay, so we can then look at maybe the difference between orders that are the order status. So shipped, delivered, shipped, pending, that sort of thing. We could look at that. We could look at addresses. We could look at the difference between order date and delivery date. That could be another video for another day. If you want that, let me know in the comment section and I'd be happy to create that for you. Let's see, what else could we do with this data? Okay, I think I'll stop here for now. This was a brief introduction to pivot tables. If you have anything else you would like me to cover, please do let me know. I'd be happy to cover it. For now, let me just show you what we've done. So far, we've been able to tell from the pivot table really quickly how much we've made in each month. There we go. We've also been able to filter by the month and then say which products brought in the amount of money that we received, as well as arranging things in descending order and in order of price. Then over here, we looked at the breakdown between what payment methods customers use. And we found that majority of customers use credit cards, and that's 30 customers. We had to do accounts to get that. And then we looked at how much they were actually spending. And we found that credit card users generally spend spend more than PayPal users, which is interesting. Now, I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, go ahead and share it with somebody who it might be useful to, or go ahead and hit that like button. All right, I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye.